What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Plastic Addict, episode number 19. Today, we're going to discuss the number one mistake that beginner disc golf players make when choosing the right disc in their bag. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, when I first started playing disc golf, I walked into any disc golf store and I was just blown away by how many colors, how many plastics, how many weights, how many molds there were in the store. And it gets super overwhelming. So today, what I really want to talk about is plastic types and how they fly. So the stability of plastic flights, because I feel like a lot of beginner players, that's what they focus on a lot. And in all actuality, it doesn't matter that much. So today, we're going to go in, we're going to see how different plastics fly. We're going to look at the same molds, and we are going to just take a look at how the different plastics fly within their respective molds. So let's get right into it. First off, we're going to hit on Discraft. And Discraft has several different plastic types. I'm just going to list a few. We've got Jawbreaker, Putter Blend, Big Z, Z, ESP, and TI. And you're probably thinking, Silas, that's a lot of plastics, and there's even more. It's crazy. It gets crazy up in here. So first of all, let's take a look at our baseline plastics. So for our baseline, we've got Putter Blend and we've got Jawbreaker. These two plastics are going to be your baseline plastics, so they're going to be a little bit cheaper than your premium plastics, but they are also going to be in more. So with these plastics, they're going to be a little bit more flippy than your premium plastics. So plastics like Big Z, plastics like Z, ESP, and TI, all of these are going to be fairly similar. ESP is going to be a little bit on the overstable side along with TI. But just a side note, this can also vary from run to run. And when discs are made, they are all not made equally. I wish they were, but they aren't. Some are domier, some discs are domier than others, even though they are the same mold. That's just how the plastic is compressed and injected. And there are some variables when you are making discs, when these manufacturers are. So just keep that in mind as well, that even though I might say ESP is super overstable, you might have a really flippy buzz that just turns over into oblivion. So just keep that in mind when we are talking about plastic and plastic types and stability. So Big Z and Z from Discraft, these are going to be your more of the run-of-the-mill. They're not all the way the premium plastics, but they're not the baseline plastics. It's technically a premium plastic, but ESP is going to be your top tier plastic from Discraft, along with TI. And we're just going to take a look at the stock plastics. Now there are plastic blends. So there's Glow, there's Z Metallic, there's Metal Flake, there's Photon, there's all of these, so many plastic variants and combinations that you can do. But yeah, we're just going to be taking a look at these stock plastics that we have, because I mean, we'd be sitting here for forever if we talked about all these different types of plastic combinations. So that is all for Discraft. Those are the big 5 plastics. We're going to head on to Innova Plastic. And Innova Plastic, we've got, just to name a few here, we've got DX, we've got G-Star, we've got Star, and we've got Champion. These are just like the big 4 we've got. And then you also have like KC Pro, you've got JK, you've got all of these other plastic variants just like Discraft has. But we're just gonna be taking a look at the main ones here. And to start off, DX is going to be the baseline. So DX equates to Putter Blend of Discraft. Easiest way to kind of think of that. G-Star is a grippy star plastic. So it's got a little bit more grip. It's kind of like Prodigy's you think of 300 and 350G. 350G stands for grip. So it's got a 350G is going to be a little more tacky than the 300 plastic. But and then we've also got Star plastic, and we've also got Champion plastic. And just like we had Z and ESP at the top on Discraft, we're going to have Star and Champion plastic at the top on Innova. So those discs are going to fly very similar, opposed to DX plastic. DX is Innova's baseline plastic, and that's going to fly more understable, just like the putter blend and jawbreaker plastics. Moving on, we do have MVP, and for MVP we've got electron, we've got neutron, we've got cosmic electron, and we've got plasma, and we've got proton as well. So those are kind of like the big five. And for MVP is a little bit different, just because they have, all of these brands have so many plastic molds, but MVP actually has 3 brands under their MVP name. So with that being said, we've got electron being their baseline plastic, and up from there, neutron, up from there, cosmic neutron, which is like their swirly plastic, and up from there we have a champion-like plastic would be proton, and then a TI-like plastic from MVP would be the plasma plastic. And these plastics, MVP is putting out some great stuff, but like I said, electron plastic from MVP is going to be your DX, your putter blend, all of those baseline plastics. So they're going to be a little bit more flippy than the plastics like neutron, cosmic neutron, all of that stuff, proton, all of those. Those are going to be your premium plastics, and those are going to be a little bit more overstable than the baseline plastic electron. Now, I wish I could go through all the brands that we have, but sadly, that would take up a ton of time. So I'm gonna hit on one last one, and that's Trilogy. So first off, we have Prime Plastic, we have Prime Burst, we also have Zero Plastic, and there's a lot more from Trilogy. Trilogy's plastic is like all of these. There's so many variants. It's crazy. But then also from Trilogy, we have the more premium, we have Fusion plastic, and we also have Lucid plastic. Lucid is going to be more like your Champion plastic. Fusion's going to be more like your Star plastic. So the Prime plastic, the Zero plastic, those are going to be your baseline plastics, and those are going to be a little bit more flippy than your premium plastics, like your Lucid and your Fusion. So that is a Trilogy. So I hope that this little guide has helped you just decipher all of these different kinds of plastic in these brands, because it can get so confusing with Lucid and Neutron and Proton and Putter Blend and all of these different plastics. I hope that really nails down how those will fly, what characteristics go with what plastic. So I really hope that you have enjoyed that. I do want to say that I think this is one of the most common mistakes that beginner players are, they get themselves stuck into, because you see a Wraith, for example, you see it in Star, and then you see it in DX, and then you see it in G-Star, and you're like, oh, what do I need? I guess I need all 3 of these. And not really. When you're just starting out, you don't need all of these plastics. Just the best thing to do if you're a beginner is just to start small and don't get too head over heels in plastic, and in weights as well. Weights is another big one. And actually, we have a podcast over in the Foundation podcast right here called In the Bag, where Brad, All Business Brad, and Robbie C jump into people's bags and they tell them what they need to correct. So definitely go check that out if you have enjoyed this so far, because that's a really good episode a really good podcast for beginners, and even if you're not a beginner, just to learn more about discs and how they actually fly. Now, I will say my favorites from these brands. From Discraft, I really love the ESP plastic. Also from Discraft, I really like the Jawbreaker plastic. Feels a little bit more premium than the Putter Blend plastic. It's gonna hold up a little bit more than the baseline plastic, but yeah, really good plastic as well. Beats in very nice. Innova, I really love their Champion plastic. It feels really good in the hand, really tacky, and I really like that from them. And MVP, I really love the Cosmic Neutron plastic. So good, just feels great in the hand. And Trilogy, I really like the Lucid plastic. Just feels really good. It's good stuff. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little segment. Now let's segue into some new discs. All right, this is a new little segment we've got here. I'm just gonna go through some new discs that we got in the warehouse because I love seeing new discs and new plastic, and I'm sure you guys do as well. So first off, I'm sure most of you guys will know, this is the C-Line PD here. Look at that bad boy. That's pretty sweet right there. That is pretty sweet. This thing is overstable. Feels like the infamous new Discmania C-Line plastic. Not much different than the FD plastic-wise and MD3 plastic-wise, same plastic. Feels really good. It feels good, and I'm curious to see how this thing flies. So yeah, I can't wait to see the pros of this, like Simon and Eagle and those guys. Just got this in the warehouse. They just dropped, and I think there are a couple left. So foundationdisc.com, go ahead, check it out. And next up, we've got a brand new mold here. This is the Streamline Discs Jet, and this feels amazing. This really does. It feels like I can get a good grip on this plastic. Very tacky. I'm curious to see how it holds up against a couple throws, where if that tackiness will wear off or what. I hope not, because it feels really good and tacky. But I have this. There's got to be like this wax that are on these discs that just wear off. I'm sure of it. Anyway, the Jet. I think it's a pretty neutral flying. Feels like a fairway, like a maybe like a 9-speed. Flight numbers aren't on here, but if I had to guess, it's maybe a 10-speed, something like that. I'm really excited to throw this, but yeah, check it out. It should be dropped by today, so links in description. Also, new mold we got here, the Prodigy FX4. I did have a chance to throw this guy, and boy, oh boy, this thing is nice. I can just get it to hyzer flip right up, and it just rides straight. It's a great hyzer flip to straight. Awesome. Would be good for also turnover shots as well. But nonetheless, it's a 9.5 -2.1, and this disc, it's pretty money. It's pretty money. I like their Prodigy's reinvented 400 plastic. It feels like it's got more grip to it. Feels like it's got more durability to it. Very impressed with this plastic so far. So keep up the good work, Prodigy. And also, let's see here. We've got a lot of new company here. And that is, well, new to Foundation website. New to Foundation website, not new company. We've got Mint Discs. So we've got this Prophet here. Feels like a Zone. We've got the Jackalope, which is probably their most popular disc, I believe. It's just a fairway. I think it's a pretty neutral flying fairway. It feels pretty neutral flying. Don't quote me on that. Let me know in the comments below how this thing flies, if you have one though. Feels pretty good. Can't wait to try that out. We also have the Bobcat, and actually this might feel a little more, no, Prophet is definitely a Zone. This feels like a mid, over, probably like a Buzz. Feels pretty much like a Buzz. Yeah, Bobcat. Then we have the Freetail finesse driver. Huh. I've never heard of this. But anyway, new in the shop. And then we also have the GOAT. Des Redding GOAT. That, you know, one thing I love is that this plastic feels incredible, and that's because it's made by your boys over at MVP. And yeah, this stuff feels great. If you haven't tried mint discs out, it's like I said, their stuff feels great. It's MVP plastic. So this is their Apex plastic, and then their more Champ C-line type is the Eternal. Yeah, Eternal plastic. So yeah, all this plastic feels really good, and I can't wait to try this out. So yeah, those are all the new discs in the warehouse that we've got at the foundation shop and warehouse. So now we're gonna transition to a little Q&A. All right, a little Q&A time. I know you guys on the last episode really enjoyed this, so I decided we're gonna give it another go. So if you're not already following me on Twitter, that's where I posted the little Q&A tweet. So check that out, FDG_Silas. Make sure you give that a follow. I also do a lot of giveaways, so if you wanna just chance to win that, head over there. First one we've got from Gavin. He says, "What was the first disc you bought and why?" First disc. Hunter originally got me into disc golf, so he gave me a few discs. But the first disc I bought, oh man, I think it was my Innova stud. I still have that in the bag. If you haven't seen my in the bag, it was a previous episode actually, so go ahead and check that out. But the first disc I bought was the Innova stud. I went to play it again, didn't know what the heck I was doing, and bought a DX Innova stud, and it's still in the bag. Super flippy, I love it. Great hyzer flip putter. It's awesome. And why? Why? There's no reason why. Not a good reason. Just it looked cool. It was called the stud, and I thought I was a stud, so yeah. Best feeling plastic of all time. Oh man. Man, best feeling plastic of all time. Man. I'm gonna say Castaplast K1. Castaplast. They're just killing it over there right now. The K1 Soft feels really good as well. If you like soft gummy plastic, that's a little too soft. A little too soft for me. But Castaplast K1. Next up, that was from Trenton. Next up, from Andrew, what ratio should you have playing rounds versus field work? It's a good question, Andrew. And I think this depends on your skill level, one, and how serious you want to take the sport, two. I assume if you're looking at doing field work, you take the sport pretty seriously. And then one, back to the one, it depends on your skill level. Because if you're throwing, I don't know, it also depends on your home course. Because like Peaksview, there's maybe, I think hole 17 is like 300 feet, and that's it. So I started out playing Peaksview Park, which is just a pitch and putt course. And that's where I learned how to play. And then when I kind of graduated from that course and I went on to play something more that had a lot more distance, I was just kind of stuck because I didn't know how to throw distance shots. So I think field work is really good for the right person. And also if you're taking the sport seriously and you really want to analyze your form. And also I think it's actually very important to see how your discs fly in an open field. Because that is so important to know your discs and know how they fly. So the ratio, my ratio is probably like every 5 times I play a round, I probably do field work once. It's something like that. A 1 to 5, that's probably me. You can, I mean, there's no telling. Pros are probably up there. But I don't get out and play too often, right now at least. I don't know the exact ratio. But if you're like a Brody Smith, you probably go out and do field work once a week, at least. If you're a touring pro like Brody, yeah. Good question though. I love that question. What size this comes from Jason. What size / speed rim has the best hand feel for you and gives you the most confidence on the tee? Man, I have pretty big hands. And so we actually talked about this on debate night, Tuesday night. And I really like the high speed drivers. I feel like I can get a hold of them really well, but most of them I just can't get up to speed. So that's something I need to work on. But like a Force or a Nuke feels really good in my hand because it's got a wide rim and I feel like I can just grip and get a lot of power, but I just can't get it quite up to speed yet. So that gives me, that's probably the most comfortable feeling disc, I'd say. Just because it's got that wide rim, it just fills out the hand more. So good question, Jason. If you have smaller hands, you know, you're probably like a Buzz or I don't know, something like that, or just even a fairway driver. But I have pretty large hands, so I like the wide rimmed drivers personally. Coming from Leon, any modern plastic that has the grippy feel of older Champ? I haven't been in the sport that long. Older Champ, if you're looking for a grippy plastic, I mean the C-Line plastic is super grippy and it's also like Champ. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with C-Line. C-Line plastic. And it also looks very similar. So if you haven't tried Discmania C-Line, give it a try. All right, I think that's all the questions we have for this week. If you want to submit questions, I usually put out a little tweet on Wednesdays of the week, and yeah, if you have an immediate question you can think of right now, you can go and DM me on Twitter, FDG_Silas. And yeah, I love the Q&A segment. I love just answering you guys' questions about anything disc related. Super fun. So that was really fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the little Q&A we got. So now, I'm sure you guys know I love dying discs, and we actually, I did a disc dyeing live stream on our Foundation retail store Instagram. So if you're not following that, follow that. And so we'll do a little dye reveal on Plastic Addict. You guys will be the first ones to get to see the new discs that are dyed. So without further ado, let's grab those and we'll do a little reveal. All right. So first up, we got two up here, two right here, and see how they turn out. I got this little Taco Bell gift card that I used to wipe the glue off. Yeah, these are going in the retail store. So if you haven't been by the retail store, I don't know what you're doing. But first one up here. Ooh, this looks sweet. Here, let me wipe the glue off. Wipe the glue off. Wipe the glue off. Wipe the glue off. This is a Hades. And boom. Look at that thing. We did I think it was blue, purple, pink, swirly boy. All right, so final reveal. First up, this is a brand that I've never dyed before. It came out different than I expected, but this is a Terra, special edition Terra. It was originally white, and it is now like a black swirl and green. The stamp is a little darker. The colors don't quite go together, I think. So we learn. But it still looks pretty sick nonetheless. In the light, it looks better because the stamp is actually blue. Next up, we've got a Zeus. I tried the orange and the black in the middle. I think I should have added some red on where the orange is, just to kind of give it a little pop of swirl. But that's pretty cool, like black stripe going through. And then next up, we've got a onyx. This is like a Hulk. It's purple, black, and green onyx. Pretty sick. Looks very nice. That came out very well. And then lastly, we have a Hades. And this is just kind of cotton candy, kind of space fun colors. This is probably one of my favorites. Very cool. Very nice gold stamp there as well. So yeah. Those are the dies, and you guys are the first ones to see them, so that's really cool. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a like, and if you're not already subscribed, what are you doing? Go ahead and subscribe. Make sure you click the bell to get notified when a new episode of Plastic Addict and all of our other podcasts are live. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.